just doesn't really cut it, folks. This is a very special day where we can honor our county college people and our campus people and the successes which they have filled our lives and our community. Right now. I usually start where this is the day the Lord has made. Let us be glad and rejoice in it. And I so firmly believe that we do rejoice. When I witnessed some of the greetings that you people gave to Mr. Hershey and vice versa, that is so exciting that we get together and celebrate the day. So I especially want to thank the outstanding alum and their families and their friends that joined them, and our special alums in the back table that are so faithful to our brunch. They rarely miss a year. And just everybody, thank you. And I've changed where each year I ask someone different to be MC, and I kind of like to include the past campus faculty, because they were a big part of our lives. And so this year we are honored and excited to get the banjo player, Associate Professor Robert Hershey.
Chrysler stopped making Plymouths in 2001. General Motors discontinued making Pontiacs in 2010. Ford stopped making Mercurys in 2011. The state of Wisconsin stopped producing Alumni in Richland Center in 2023. Unfortunate. The Richland County Normal began in 1902 and then transitioned to the University of Wisconsin in 1967. Finally, of course, closing this year. Higher education was present continuously in Richland County for over 120 years. Unfortunately, we're not making any more alumni. But there's a major difference between the discontinued cars and UW-Richland alumni. The cars are either in a junkyard or in a museum. The UW-Richland alumni continue to make dynamic, positive contributions to our society. And this is what we're celebrating this morning, honoring 6 outstanding alumni from the previous years. I'm Robert Hershey, Associate Professor Emeritus of Biology here at the campus. I continued to teach on the campus until 2006, and I still, at this very moment, occupy an office in the administration building. I'm in the category of forgotten but not gone. As I'm out and about, I run into, of course, students all the time, and they stop me, and they always seem to have 2 questions. Number 1, am I still riding my bicycle? The answer is yes, I rode it this morning. The other is, am I still playing the banjo? The answer is, sort of. At the beginning of each class, at the beginning of the semester, in each class, there was one particular song that I used, and I thought, well, for old time's sake, I'll just sing it for you this morning. So, here goes. Exactly the same banjo, students, that I was using back in the 1970s. but my hands have a little more arthritis than they did then. That's fine. Here's the song that I started out each semester with in biology and botany. Come and take a walk with me through this green and glowing land. Walk through the meadows, the mountains and the sand. Walk through the rivers, the valleys and the plains. Walk through the wind and walk through the rain. Here is the land full of power and glory, beauty, words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest in the strength of her freedom. Her glory will rest with us all, with us all. Well, first up now, we're going to have a reading from Greg Zimmerman, who is the head of the Campus Foundation.
I can attest to the fact that he's on campus. He's not lying. I see him there. I'm one of 2 people who have offices in the administrative building. I feel like the Maytag repairman. And it's kind of sad. In fact, it is sad. But before I get into that, I just want to welcome all of you, honorees and guests here today. It's an honor and pleasure to be here in front of you. And I greet you on behalf of the Foundation Board of Directors, and I extend congratulations to the honorees today. I think as you all know, the past year has been a tumultuous one for UW-Richland. It was about a year ago that the announcement came out that the campus was going to close. And following that announcement, many people simply wondered not only what was going to happen to the physical campus, but what was going to happen to the foundation. After the initial shock and disappointment, the Richland County Campus Foundation Board has responded, I believe, in a very positive way. As a board, last year we decided to continue awarding scholarships, but to award scholarships to students who were still on the campus last year. And after the application process, in May of 2023, the foundation awarded scholarships to 31 students, and that money totaled over $93,000. So those 31 students have now dispersed to other universities. But along with that, they have received scholarship money, half of that money, this fall to get started. And I know because I'm the one who writes the checks. So now the next step. No students on campus. What do we do as a board? And at our meetings, we meet every couple months, we have now set plans to continue providing scholarships to graduating high school seniors within and around Richland County for this upcoming spring. So these 12th grade students will be able to apply online. We've set up a website. We're setting one up right now for scholarships that in the past have been awarded to high school graduates who have come to UW-Richland. So we want to keep the spirit alive of providing financial opportunities for students who graduate from high school. And we're also developing a process where we can offer grants to area groups who wish to create programs that serve the Richland community. The foundation wishes to promote continuing education, healthcare, and the cultural and lifelong learning for the greater Richland community. And then once again, when it comes to scholarships, I'd like to reach for more. I've imagined offering a UW-Richland Legacy Scholarship, where alumni like many of you here could donate to a fund that awards scholarships to the children and grandchildren of UW-Richland alumni, and perhaps even the great-grandchildren of the Richland County Teachers College. It's merely an idea at this time, and I realize our board has a lot of pressing decisions to make in the next few months, but I truly hope it becomes a reality. One that will keep UW-Richland alive not only in our hearts and minds and memories, but also in the post-education pursuits of our future high school graduates. So once again, congratulations to the newest outstanding alumni, and thank you for being here today.
We're pleased to welcome back to Richland Center, and many of you are still living here. Welcome you back for this very special day. And we'll be now reading the names of the alumni that are here today. As I read your name, please stand, remain standing, and we'll hold our applause till all of them are standing. Charlotte Marshall, class of 1949. James Clark. Bertoni. Jeanette Artisan. Carol Troxel. The year was 1961 for Carol. Jeanette, 58. Vernon, 1957. And James Clark, 1952. Okay, Jim Alba, 1966. Kathy Granger, 1966, John Melby. Tom Simonson, 1967. Linda Wallace, 1967. Margaret Davidson, 1968. John Poole, 1968. Kurt Shubetsky, 1976. Colleen Dole, 1976. Ken Manning, 1976. Deborah Hoopwriter, 1977. Beth Eddard, 1977. Ben Kelch, 1979. Tom Rako, 1980. Linda Keelan Plus, 1983. Troy Granger, 1988. Mike Frederick, 1997. Misty Frederick, 1997. Rebecca Scholes, 1997. Stephanie Kinder, 2007. Rob Kinder, 2008. Elizabeth Beedelhoff, 2013. Columba Lionella, 2016. Okay, let's give a hand to those. Now, we have this year honoring guests from our classes ending in the number 3. And so we have 2 that end in number 3. We have Linda Blust. Please stand, and you'll be presented with carnation. And Elizabeth Beedelhoff from 2013. Who's presenting the carnation to herself?
Sure.
I'm just being reminded that I should introduce the people at the head table here. John Poole. John and Jean Burkett. Barbara Blackmore. Barb actually taught, Dr. Blackmore taught. Her husband, of course, was my colleague for many, many years. And he has passed away, but Barb was actually teaching biology one semester, 1 year, yeah. And Cliff Kavanaugh, he's not here. He's not here. Okay. I guess that includes all of my wife Jan. I recognize her, yeah. And Jan also taught one semester on the campus here, as well as elsewhere. Okay, now we're going to go to our honored guests today, those receiving the Outstanding Alumni Award. And we're going to begin with Charlotte Marshall. I'll read a little bit about her and then come up and have a few words for us. Charlotte began her college career at Richland County Normal School in 1947, graduating in 1949. Started teaching at the Woodland School, the building which is still standing. Going to Rockridge in 1950 and then switched to Fiddler's Green the following year. In the summer of 1952, she began working at Badger Ordnance, then transitioned to a long career in the dairy industry as a lab technician, working with milk safety issues, producing bacteria for the making of cheese, and eventually in supervisory positions. She retired in 1991 after over 35 years in the dairy industry. Charlotte embarked on an incredible journey of volunteerism involving 19 different organizations. This continued until the COVID epidemic. In 2013, she received a Volunteer Service Award from Dane County and a Volunteer Call of Service Award from Governor Tony Evers in 2021. Charlotte is an outstanding alumna of the Richland County Normal School, having served Wisconsin throughout a very long lifetime. So congratulations to Charlotte. Come up and receive your plaque.
Hello, everyone. This is unusual for me. I never ever thought this would happen. But Kathy Rosa called me one day and said I had been nominated. At first I didn't. So we can hear it. She said I had been not nominated. I didn't believe her. I thought she was pulling my leg. So I wasn't too enthused about the whole thing, and I just was kind of pushing it off. And Kathy kept talking, kept encouraging, and I thought, well, she said, all you got to do is write a little thing about yourself and what you've accomplished. And I thought, I think I'm getting it at a certain time. And I thought to myself, I've got nothing to lose, why not try and see what happens? And this is what happened. I'm here today. And I want to thank everyone that voted for me, and the person that nominated me, and everyone that worked today to make this day possible. Thank you very much.
Our next outstanding alumnus is John Melby. John is a veteran of 38 years in education as a teacher and as an administrator, mostly in the Riverdale School District in Muscatine. He enrolled at the Richland County Teachers College and graduated in 1966. He completed his bachelor's degree at UW-Platteville in 1968 and earned his master's in educational administration from University of Wisconsin-Madison. After teaching 6th grade at Riverdale for 13 years, he became elementary principal for 22 years. In addition to his professional duties, John also was involved in soccer and wrestling programs. He then returned to the classroom to teach 6th grade in Alaska for 3 years. I met John in 1980 when my wife Jan joined the staff at Riverdale. They worked together for nearly 20 years, and she has great respect for John as an administrator and as a friend. We are pleased to honor John as an outstanding alumnus of higher education in Richland County. Come on up, John.
In my younger day, I could have got out of those tables a lot faster. First, I'd like to thank Kathy for all the support of the foundation and the campus over all these years. And she's the one that kept harping at me to get involved in this also. And she never lets me forget that I appeared last year and I didn't buy a ticket. She gave me a hard time.
You didn't buy it, you just didn't register.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to thank my wife of 52 years for all of the support she's given me and kept the fires burning at home when I was off coaching and doing the other administrative things. Also, I'd like to thank our three daughters. Rebecca, she was a member here in 95, 97 at the campus. Amanda, who went to lacrosse, and Lindsay, who went to Madison. So that shows us what kind of options we had here, and it was great that we had the campus that gave each one of them a chance to take a choice of what kind of schooling they wanted to get involved in. Also, their families are here. We have 5 grandchildren: Keegan, Addison, Caden, Harper, and Maddox, and I appreciate them taking time to be here today. I'd like to share with you just a few stories about the campus and why I got involved in this. I graduated in '66 or '64 from Richland Center High School, and at that time we didn't have much in the way of career education. And in fact, I never talked to anybody about it. I figured I was going back to the farm and that's where I was going to be. But one day in the summer after I graduated, a farm neighbor of mine, Pat Manning, some of you may know, he called me and said, "Why don't you come down to campus? We have a good basketball team. You play basketball." Okay. So that was my career planning for the year to decide what I was going to do with the rest of my life. At that time, that was probably the best decision I had ever made to that point. That got me started in a career that lasted almost 40 years, that gave me something to do that I loved very much for the entire time. The lessons that I learned from the Teachers College were what helped me become the kind of teacher that I was. For instance, just a few little incidents that happened during the years that I was there. First of all, we had a choir, and Isabel Fowle was the choir director, and our name was the No-No, it's K-N-O-W, but when I got involved, it became the N-O, not true, but anyway, I was in school and we were having a choir practice and we were singing a religious song and I was screwing around and doing things I shouldn't have been doing. And at the end of the song, Mrs. Ball just gave the whole class a little lecture about respect and responsibility, but I knew right who she was directing that at, but she didn't call me out in front of everybody. Another thing, seeing Linda Wallace here, her mom's office was right off the study hall at the old normal school. One day, I was walking into the study hall and a bunch of kids, I think it was probably Jim Allball, they were messing around and causing a little disturbance, and just then Marge opens the door from her office and I'm just getting ready to sit down. And there I stand, just guilty as sin, you know. So she called me into the office and read me the right act, but then she found out what really happened, that it wasn't me, it was him. And she came out to the study hall and apologized to me in front of all the students. And it's just things like that that really set the tone for what kind of a teacher you could become yourself. So I really appreciate all those kinds of things. Another thing that happened there that kind of led to some other things that I got to do in life is we, at the normal school, had a lab school. And so Mr. Allball and I started a grade school wrestling program. And so that gave me a lot of joy for over 20 years working with that. And my best friend of 60 years, Jim, went on to Hall of Fame success with all of his wrestling credits. So those are the kinds of things that made me the kind of teacher that I was, all because of what happened at Richland County Teachers College. I'd just like to say thank you to everybody that was associated with this. And lastly, just congratulations to all the other award recipients today. Thank you.
Nice job, Jack. So the first two recipients are from the County Teachers College, or normal as it was called. The next four are from the UW-Richland era. And first, these are in alphabetical order. So our first recipient is Linda Keelan Blust. In 1981, Linda Keelan Blust began her long educational journey at UW-Richland. She enrolled in my microbiology class in the spring semester of 1983. At the beginning of the semester, I had all my students fill out an information sheet so I would get to know them a little bit better. What high school they graduated from, what courses in science they had taken already, and so on. Among the many questions was one about vocational goals. She simply wrote MD. That's amazing. You must have been like 17 or 18 at the time. At 17 or 18 to write down a goal like that is amazing. I have her sheet right here in her own handwriting. This is the sheet right here. And it says, you know, MD. Now, she did put after that cardiovascular surgery, which was not really where it went. And I also have, for each of these four UW students now, I also have the seating chart where they sat in the class. So I'll give that to you. Linda, there you are. And the nice thing about this is that this is all paper, it burns, or can be recycled. After she transferred to UW-Cross and then to St. Louis University for a degree in biology. After marrying Robbie Blust and becoming a full-time mom for 7 years, she entered medical school at the Medical College of Wisconsin over in Milwaukee. It took amazing perseverance and an understanding family for her to finally achieve her goal. Her specialty is in hospice and palliative medicine. She is currently with a Grace Hospice Care in Pittsburgh.
I was very pleased to see Mr. Hershey here, and I remember several things from your microbiology class. I remember Robert Koch showing up. He dressed every year as Robert Koch. He also taught us songs about various bacteria and things, one of which I could sing right now, but I will not, because you know what I'm talking about. I am humbled and honored to be here. I finished high school a year early, mostly because I was disruptive, shall we say, and I'm so fortunate that the campus, which we always called it, was here. I experienced many, many things that I frankly didn't have the courage to do in high school. I was in theater, thanks to Ma Burkett and Jim Agard. I got to explore physics with Cliff Kavanaugh. I'm sorry he's not here. He wrote test questions that involved shotguns and bunnies on roller skates, and figuring out, you know, angle and momentum and all kinds of things. And it was a great experience for me. And as you heard, my path wasn't straight by any means, but I have a beautiful, beautiful family. We have a new granddaughter who's about 18 months old. And my success and my humility comes from my family. My grandparents, some of whom are immigrants, and others of whom did caring for chronically ill family members for many years. As some of you may know, my dad died very young. He gave me a love of music. My mom pulled us all together, and somehow, with 3 little girls, it was 4 of us against the world, and we made it happen, somehow or another, and we still like each other, which is good. I have amazing other women in my family, aunts and cousins who have taught me about kindness and perseverance. And last but not least, my husband of 39 years. We met doing plays at campus. Well, actually, we went before that. He actually babysat before me once, and I'm not making that up, which sounds weird. And we've been together since then. And he very kindly, graciously, and without complaint took care of our family and kept us together while I was in medical school and training. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations to all of us who have had the opportunity to get an exposure to higher education right here at home.
Our next recipient is Colleen McCormick Shaw. Colleen was on campus from 1974 to 1976. She was in my concepts of biology class in the fall of 1974, and her vocational goal was special education. I have her information sheet that she filled out the first day of class right here in her own hand. After achieving her goal, graduated from UW-Lacrosse with a bachelor's degree in 1978 and a master's degree also from UW-Lacrosse in early childhood. In 1983, she began her long career with the North Crawford School District. Her career spans 35 years in that district. Simultaneously, she was a 4-H leader for 29 years. In 1995, she and her husband Wade began fostering children. Over 30 have come under their care. They have also adopted 6 of the children that they have fostered. Colleen's interest in special education became unexpectedly applicable when one of their sons suffered a traumatic brain injury in 2017 and has required challenging care. UW-Richland is pleased to recognize Colleen McCormick-Dahl as an outstanding alumnus. And here's the information sheet right there in your own hand. Very nicely printed, I must say.
My boss maybe take it to practice. Despite Mrs. Brickett's trials, I did not become a good public speaker, so this is very challenging for me. My goals in life were to deal with children, and that's what I've done for a long time, and I've loved it, and I wouldn't change things. My husband and I have been married for 47 years, and it's been a long journey, especially the last ones, but I appreciated coming to UW-Richland. It was great. Had Marge Wallace not come to our school and recruit me, I probably wouldn't have. And I did. She came and it was great, and I got to live sort of with John Poole in a big house with 5 girls on one side and John on the other. he was very good to us. And it had you and I also got to work at the office with Vicki Alback and Tom Gillingham and Bob Wentz. It was great. It was great. Coming from a small school, I probably would have been crushed going to anything else, but we managed, and I got married and then finished school, so it was even better. And besides my kids that I adopted, I also have 2 birth children too, and they've been great, and I have at least a dozen grandchildren, and one of them is actually, this is my good story. We've been fostering for a long time, and we got a baby last November, and she was just 4 months old, and she is going to get adopted by my daughter. So my foster child is becoming my forever grandchild. It's great. But thank you, everyone, especially my husband and his twin sister Beth, who also went to school here. They've been a wonderful support. Thank you.
Our next recipient is Ken Manning. Ken graduated from Ithaca High School 1974 and then entered UW-Richland that fall. After 2 years at the campus, he transferred to the University of Wisconsin at Platteville to major in agricultural education. His first teaching position was in Lancaster. During his tenure there, he became head wrestling coach, where his teams had great success. In 1993, he moved to the Westby School District, where he was the high school counselor and head wrestling coach for 10 years, followed by 10 years as the high school principal. Again at Westby, the wrestling teams were continuously outstanding in Division II schools. Ken was president of the Wisconsin Wrestling Coaches Association for 3 years and traveled to Japan 5 times as a coach in an exchange program. In 2006, Ken was inducted into the Wisconsin Coaches Association Hall of Fame. In 2010, he began a business which provides videos for school and community events throughout Vernon County. Ken is currently the elementary school counselor in the Brookwood School District. He is now in his 43rd year as an outstanding educator. We are pleased to honor Ken Manning. And I have his information sheet here.
I was a little worried about that.
Not your grades, no, just the information sheet. And actually, 2 seating charts. I believe I have both the lecture and the lab seating charts for you.
It was a little scary. I was kind of hoping I wouldn't see this, but all the different times of being in front of people and speaking and everything, this is probably one of the tougher ones where I'm the most nervous. But Mrs. Burkett was always pretty good at speech class. One of the things that she told me, I remember in the class, the last speech, she goes, "Now, Ken, you're probably only going to get a B. You're not going to get anything more. You're not going to get anything less. All right. What do I have to, is it okay just to read?" She goes, "Go ahead." So I was like this. My head was down here, and I read the whole thing, and I was laughing partway through it because I knew that maybe I was being a little turkey, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, the comment that Mrs. Burkett made was, "You have the shiniest top of your head of your hair." It's still probably that way. But I do remember that. But, you know, it's very, very humbling to be here. It is a little nerve-wracking. I do want to thank Mrs. Granger, though, because not only here today with this, it's almost like a family reunion, because I finally get to see Dr. Tom, who is my cousin. We are cousins. So it was great that we could share a smile and a hug here earlier this morning. And I think we figured out about almost 40 years, Tom, since we've seen each other. So it's just remarkable, and I have goosebumps down both arms, just so you know, to have something like this. The fact that coming from, I have to say this, my mom kept twisting my arm, telling me, "Ken, you need to put in for this award, this recognition." And I've never been one to really, you know, toot your own horn kind of a thing. It's just like you go about your business and that's what you do. But I finally relented, and I'm so glad that I did with that. But it took 3 years, I think, didn't it, Mom? If I remember right, probably. So, but thanks to my family that's here, Rand and Heidi are here, my wife, Lori, who puts up with a lot of stuff for 21 years when I'm still in education and running the business and everything else. Tyler and Lauren are here with the grandkids, and that's just so neat to see them here. One of the things how many of you seen the movie Troy? The movie Troy is one with, Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, thank you, honey. At the end of the movie, it says, "Let them know that I walked the earth during the time of Hector and Achilles." Well, my little saying is, I want you to know that I walked the halls and the paths of UW-Richland during the time of Wallace, Caldwell, Poole, Blackmore, Bauer, Deckard, Hershey, and Burkett, and many, many others. You people, whether you know this or not, Jim, for how many years we've known each other, I was one of his wrestlers, and then he brought me into the sport of wrestling, and that just blossomed. Thank you for that. All that stuff, all those times, that 2 years there, outstanding. I needed UW-Richland more than UW-Richland needed me, that's for sure. It was an outstanding place to grow, to learn, to get a great jump start on one's education. I will always be humble and proud to be there during that time. I have to say this, besides maybe John Poole and Jim Allball, those were the two that kind of like what you're saying, Colleen. Do you go to UW-Richland or do you go to work? What do you do? At Ithaca, Coach Allball was my wrestling coach, and I'll never forget, come up to me in the gym one day and he goes, I'm going to the campus to coach. You want to come along and wrestle for me? And I went, nah. And that's what we did for a couple more years. So it was an outstanding place. John, thank you for being around there. There is a mentor that knew and understood young people coming out of school. He could relate to us. He would talk to us about it, give you a straight scoop on things. And I always appreciated that. That's what I love so many things about the campus. When it had been for that, who knows where I would be. Probably some factory somewhere, maybe. Thank you to all of you here. Congratulations to everybody. Pretty neat coming from a small little community of Ithaca. And, it's amazing, truly amazing, right, Tom, what God can do for you. Thank you, Eric.
Our last outstanding alumnus is Tom Winkle. Tom began at UW-Richland in 1978 after having been out of high school for 4 years. In his first semester at the campus, he enrolled in my Concepts of Biology class. On his sheet here, his vocational goal, don't know. And it's pretty amazing when you look at his career. At that point, he was very tentative in his confidence about education at all. But within 20 years, Tom had achieved and acquired 4 earned academic degrees, culminating with a Doctor of Ministry degree from Bethel University in St. Paul. Tom has been a pastor of the Grace Bible Church in suburban Minneapolis for over 30 years, just retiring very recently. He has incorporated his love for hunting into a unique approach to ministry as a conference speaker, author, and radio show host. And back in his school days here, he was one of the students where you just wondered what was going to become of Tom. And it's so wonderful to have seen what has become of Tom in these years. And looking at his information sheet, I also looked at the seating chart, which also has the attendance on here too. So I can tell you exactly what days you were absent, and it wasn't very many at all. like I see only one absence. But let me see. As far as the number of times being late to class, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 10. 10 times tardy. And I can even tell you what days.
I had the wrong car.
Okay, well, Tom, come on up and receive the plaque and have a seat.
Thank you, Rob. And there are so many special people here. I do want to start with this, though. So, my freshman year in high school, my grandfather, who I just idolized, he was my age. He died suddenly. And Ken knew him very well. And his grandma was very special to us. And then 6 months later, my brother was killed in a car accident the day after his 20th birthday on Bashford Hill. And from that point, I had made the be on a roll because I moved from Ithaca, didn't have friends, so I might as well study, right? And then the next year, I flunked my first class, English. Flunked it twice. I did not care, did not take the book home. And John Poole never ages. Did you notice that? But I ended up, the day after my 21st birthday, asked Jesus Christ to come into my life, watching a Billy Graham crusade on television. Drugs were a part of my life. I tried to get rid of all the pain and hurt. And eventually what happened is my mom ran into Marge Wallace, and I was very troubled. It was a period of 11 months before I knew for sure that Christ would accept me. And Marge told my mom, have him come and see me. And I was seeing Reverend Kenneth Rice. He told me to go see Marge Wallace. And so I went out to the campus, thought, well, maybe I sign up for a class or something. And she signed me up. I will tell you, when I came in, I was so troubled, I didn't know who I could trust. And Marge did something she said she should not have done. She shut the door, let the young student pulled out her Bible. I had questions. I did not ask the questions. She would read a portion of Scripture. I would have another question. She would read another portion of Scripture. And told me about Bob Hershey. And my wife, I ended up meeting my wife, stayed at the Hershey's because she commuted from Madison, would stay on the weekends there. I was pastoring in Gillingham. But the campus had such a powerful impact upon my life. And when I applied, I got a letter saying I was on probation. I read the letter, and it said I graduated in 1974 from Richland Center High School, about 200 in the class, that I was in the lower quarter of my graduating class. And I wept because I realized I had been wasting years of my life. I wept for the first time over something like that. And I will tell you this, you got these things called syllabi or syllabus, whatever you call it. And I remember I went the Western Civilization syllabus, and I started reading the chapters, and I thought, this is really, I didn't know that that's what Western civilization was about. It was the biology class book. I didn't even know the difference between the two. And but I will tell you this, of the degrees that I received, the most important was the UW-Richland. It was. My mom, the first semester, I was probably the only kid in high school that didn't take typing because I was not planning on going on to school. My mom typed the first semester for me, and then I got erasable paper and I learned to type. And I still am not what I do it. I have my brother here, Lola Spangler, who was my high school home ec teacher. I also was her pastor for a number of years. She was my nominator, and she taught me how to make an apron. My wife, Deb, my daughter, Mercy, and her husband, Jake, are here, my mom, and we have 4 daughters. but they are here. Jim Allball was my 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade wrestling coach. Then, I don't know if he taught English in junior high, and then I had him for physical education at the campus. Gene Burkett, had him for speech, had him for creative writing, all kinds of things like that. Mr. Hershey, of course, biology, and he was always very entertaining. What? Your sister. Well, oh, my sister Deb. Yeah, my sister Deb and brother Dave. And of course, she went to the campus too, and then went on to be a nurse. Bernie Granger was my 7th grade science teacher. Mrs. Granger, Kathy, was my 8th grade science teacher. And I will tell you one thing I did. I got in trouble. We were dissecting cow eyeballs, and so I smuggled one out of the class and took it to Miss Likens, the English teacher's class, and put it on her seat. I got in a lot of trouble. But there's some other teachers here that I saw too. Who else? Who am I missing? Who am I not? I think I must be missing somebody, but I am so grateful for Marge and for all of you who invested all these years into my life, and I'm so thankful for that. And as Ken said, my grandpa, so relative in that way, he had a 3rd grade education, and when I was a little kid, he would always say, "Oh, you are so fortunate to get an education." And I was thinking about this, Ken, that he would really be honored because he had a thirst, but I have his Bible, and he had, where he would write, where he quit reading, he would write red, R-E-D, And so, what a privilege we have had to have the campus here, and I'm so grateful for all of you professors, for my family, my wife, people that have encouraged me through the years. Thank you so much.
I better take that.
Thank you.
That's my right hand.
So these 6 recipients joined a number of previous delegated, recognized outstanding alumni. All of you in the audience here who were previously honored as outstanding alumni, would you please stand? All those that are... And of course, this year's recipients will have their names added to the plaques here, and these will be on display somewhere. I'm not sure where at this point, but they'll be on display, and hopefully many more names added to these plaques. So since we last gathered, several of our alumni family have died. We ask that you take this opportunity to remember former classmates and friends who are no longer with us. So we'll have a moment of silence. We have a candle burning out front here. A moment of silence to remember those who have passed away. Thank you. Thank you very much. Does that pretty much complete my part of this thing? Okay, one more song? One more song. At the end of the semester in each of my classes, there was one song that I always would sing. And I have a little yellow sheet here with the words on it.
Why don't you sing the song Linda was talking about?
I had a number of songs about diseases that were transmitted in a particular way. Now, the first song I sang was cut a little bit short because Catherine had a piece of paper over the words to the additional verses. So now just don't cover up my words, okay? Well, may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well, may the world go when we're far away. Sweet meadow sound, the flageolet plays the old town. Dancers sing round and round when we're far away. Well, may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well, may the world go when we're far away. Sweet may the breezes blow, clear may the streams flow. Green may the forests grow when we're far away. Well, may the world go, the world go. Well, may the world go when we're far away.
We know that this day is such a special day, and when you hear these thank yous from these 6 people and realize, why couldn't UW Systems people who made this decision be here and hear this? It has just made such a tremendous difference in our lives. And when the board decided to continue our outstanding alum, I did get phone calls and people said, Kathy, you're still going to do it? Why wouldn't we celebrate these stories? But it's just incredible. Can't thank people enough.